So, good morning, friends. Once again, I welcome you back to this class of video lecture. This is BA Part 1 English Literature, and we are taking paper 1, that is Poetry and Drama. And friends, for last couple of days, we are doing The Merchant of Venice, a very famous play written by William Shakespeare. So, in the previous class, friends, we discussed about the greatness of Shakespeare as a playwright, as a sonneteer, as a writer, as a true representative of human nature, of human psyche, of human weaknesses and greatnesses. So, today it is appropriate for us to come to the sources of the play. Shakespeare certainly cannot be charged with having invented the improbabilities of the plot. Both the story of the caskets and the story of the bond can be traced back into the Middle Ages at least. Friends, in The Merchant of Venice, two important events have been very significant. One is the casket scene, and another is the story of the bond which is there between Antonio and Shylock. So it is believed that these two uh, thrilling events, have been taken from the stories of the Middle Ages, and in many languages, such stories are available in fables, in ballads, in folk tales, in many that part of literature which is found in the Middle Ages. What is more to the point is that a Bond story resembling Shakespeare's in many details and with the story of a ring added to it is to be found in Second Pensiero, an Italian work supposed to have been written by a Florentine Sir Giovanni in 1878. This is also believed that this Bond story is found in Second Pecorcon, right? Still more to the point is the fact that there was in existence in England by 1579 a play with two corresponding to the two man element of the plot of the Merchant of Venice. So, friends, this is something about the sources of the play. Since there comes a question that what are the sources of the play, so you have to keep in your mind, right? There is another play, The Jew. It's probably combined these casket story and the Bond story. The Jew of Malta, written by Marlowe, is another example from where it is believed that Shakespeare may have taken such themes. Now, what are the exact dates of composition? The Merchant of Venice must have been written not later than 1598. In that year, Francis Mears published his Palladius Tamia, in which he mentions The Merchant of Venice last in a list of 6 Shakespeare's comedies. So this is something about date of composition. You have to be very precise regarding its publication date. So it could be concluded, therefore, that Merchant of Venice may have been written about 1596, near enough to 1594 to make the reference to Lopez. Right, friends? Now, what is the plot of the play? What is the storyline of the play? What is the theme of the play? Who are the main characters? Who are the major characters? Who are the minor characters? So just look at this page, the persons in the play. First of all, there is the Duke of Venice. Duke of Venice is found. Again, there is a Prince of Morocco, Antonio, a wealthy merchant, Bassanio, his friend, Graciano, friend to Bassanio, Lorenzo, a young Venetian in love with Jessica, Celerino, Solinio, citizens of Venice, Shylock, the main figure, the so-called villain of the play, a Jewish moneylender, Tubal, another Jew, friend to Shylock, Lancelot, servant to Shylock, later to Bassanio, and Balthazar, servant to Portia, servant to Antonio, Portia, a rich heiress of Belmont, Nerissa, her companion and maid, Jessica, daughter to Shylock. These are the main characters found in the play, and each and every character has given some space, some role to be played significantly in the play. Now, before I come to discuss the plot of the play, I take it as a privilege to speak out the first dialogue of Antonio, which is there in Act 1, Scene 1. It is the street of the Venice, and on the stage enters Antonio, Celidio, and Celinio. Now, what is the very first dialogue of Antonio? It is very important, friends. Antonio speaks. In sooth, I know not why I am so sad. It wearies me. You say, it wearies you. But how I caught it, found it, or came by it, what stuff it's made of, whereof it is born, I am to learn. So this is the very first dialogue of Antonio, which is there in Act 1, Scene 1. Now friends, I come to uh, the theme of the play. Before we come to the text of the play, it is essential for us to get acquainted with the plot of the play. It's very interesting, as I stated earlier in one of the classes, that this is that play which is staged most in the world. If you access internet and if you find the Merchant of Venice on YouTube, then you will find many editions, many enactments of this play, the Merchant of Venice. Antonio, a rich merchant of Venice, is in a mood of unaccountable melancholy from which his friends are unable to rouse him. His dearest friend Bassanio informs him of his desire to win Portia, the wealthy and beautiful heiress of Belmont, and he asks Antonio to lend him money so that he may equip himself with fitting splendor to present himself at Belmont as a suitor. Antonio's ships are all at seas, and therefore he tells Bassanio to try to find someone in Venice who will lend him the money required on Antonio's promise to repay it. This is a sort of very outline of the plot of the play, which delivers us almost all information regarding the play. Again, I speak that Antonio, the rich merchant of Venice, is in the mood of deep melancholy He is in the mood of deep desperateness, and no one knows why he is sad. Even he himself admits that I do not know the reason behind my sadness. Suddenly, his most intimate and lovable and bosom friend, Bassanio, approaches him, and he puts his desire to go to Belmont to shoot his love, Portia. And for that journey, for that travel, he needs money so that he may be presentable there. On this request, on this desire, Antonio says to Bassanio that unfortunately all my ships are at sea, and presently I do not possess any wealth, any coins, any ducats. So they both decide to go to someone else in the city of the Venice, and they decide to find or to have the money from someone else on the guarantee of Antonio. They decide to have some debt on the guarantee of Antonio, and then Antonio says that the loan I shall repay the loan since my ships will come back. So, this is the very basic outline of the story. You have to keep in your mind. Then we come to the part of the Portia. Portia has been her own melancholy. Every character of the Merchant of Venice has their own wave of melancholy, has their own part of melancholy. Every character is not satisfied with the destiny, with the fate. Passanio is interested in Portia. Portia is interested that maybe the casket term decided by her father may lead to some unhappiness in his life. Antonio is sad. Almost all characters are struggling. Portia discusses with her maid Nerissa the scheme of her father's will by which her suitors must choose one of three caskets of gold, silver, and lead. This is the casket story. This is the famous casket scene present in the play. There are three caskets. One is the casket of gold, the casket of silver, the casket of lead. Whosoever chooses the right casket will marry Portia. In order to win her, one has to choose the right casket. So Portia is sad that her entire life has been at risk due to her father's insistence. Right? She wittily describes some of her suitors. So, this is the part regarding Portia. I think, friends. So, Bassanio tries to persuade. Now, both Antonio and Bassanio have only one choice for money. There is a famous moneylender who lives in Venice, and both these two gentlemen approaches Shylock. Bassanio tries to persuade Shylock, a Jew. He is a Jew. And friends, there is a natural rivalry between these two races, between these two castes and communities. On the one hand, this is the community of the Christian people who are rich and powerful, who are dominant in the city, in the power structure of the city, in the polity of the city. And these are the minorities, the Jews, right? And they are ill-famed since they lend money on high interest rates to people in Venice. Right, friends? So Bassanio tries to persuade Shylock, a Jew, to lend 3,000 ducats for 3 months on Antonio's promise of repayment. This is the line of crux. This is the this is the very significant part of the play, that Bassanio tries to persuade Shylock, a Jew, to lend 3,000 ducats for 3 months on Antonio's promise of repayment. When Antonio arrives, there is further discussion, during which Shylock reminds Antonio of his contemptuous treatment of him in the past. Shylock consents, however, to lend the money required on condition, in a merry sport, that Antonio signs a bond by which Shylock may take a pound of his flesh if the money is not repaid by the time appointed, by the time prescribed. If Antonio fails to repay the loan, Shylock will have the right to cut off a pound of flesh from any part of Antonio's body. So this bond is signed in a merry sport. But who knows that the same bond would be fatal in the days to come? Right? Antonio signs it happily, without much thought, discussion. But finally, the entire case goes to the court of the Duke. So we shall come later on to that part. Antonio readily agrees, in spite of Bassanio's apprehensions. So friends, this is a bit outline of the story. We shall come the remaining part of the story in the next class. Thank you very much.